Hello everyone, Ron again, and in this video we're going to talk about triplets and 30-second notes. So there is a decent amount to unpack. Now you remember from yesterday we talked about quarter notes, we talked about the time signature, we talked about eighth notes, and we talked about 16th notes. And we established that a 4/4 time signature means that there are 4 beats in a measure and 1 beat is a quarter note. So we're going to continue with that same idea today. Considering a 4/4 measure, we're going to discuss the triplet. Now, when people say triplets, they usually mean eighth note triplets. 16th note triplets are also called sextuplets because their length is 1/6 of a quarter note. So if you're in 4/4 time, then every beat can fit 6 sextuplets or 6 16th note triplets. Now, triplets can be misleading if you have to explain them to somebody, so I'm going to break it down in depth. Here we go. So as with regular quarter notes, eighth notes and 16th notes, triplets will double or half in speed and time length, right? An eighth note is twice the speed of a quarter note, so it takes half the time. Think about it this way. Imagine if you wanted to clean your room, but it was going to take you 2 hours. But your maid could clean your room in 1 hour. So she has twice the speed that you do, and she would take half the time. The relationship between an eighth note and a quarter note is the same. An eighth note is twice the speed, so it takes half the time. A 16th note is twice the speed of an eighth note, so it takes half the time. So the relationship between an eighth note triplet to a quarter note triplet, they're going to be twice the speed and take half the time. And the relationship between a 16th note triplet or a sextuplet and an eighth note triplet, they will be twice the speed and they will take half the time. So when relating this from quarter notes to eighth notes to 16th notes and 30-second notes, 30-second notes are twice the speed of 16th notes as well. So when you break everything down, anything that is a quarter note value will fit 2 of an eighth note value, it will fit 4 of a 16th note value, and it will fit 8 of a 30-second note value. Now, as triplets relate to quarter notes and eighth notes, a triplet has a 3-to-2 relationship with its non-triplet counterpart. So that means eighth note triplets have a 3-to-2 relationship with eighth notes. So that means that the length of time that 2 eighth notes take up is taken up by 3 eighth note triplets. This is the way that they can be misleading, because you would figure that if you're thinking of one triplet when somebody's talking about it, that it would take up one quarter note, but that's not the case. An eighth note triplet is usually what people say. They mean three of them actually. So you can hear a triplet being described as a triplet, play triplets. When it's said that way, they want you to play eighth note triplets. But if you say play a triplet, it could mean anything as it's being discussed musically by people who perform. So they could mean that they want you to play one eighth note triplet, which is one beat, technically. Usually they would mean play three eighth note triplets, and that is the span of one quarter note, because one quarter note has the value of two eighth notes. Three eighth note triplets take up the same amount of time that two eighth notes take up because they have a 3-to-2 relationship. So therefore, one quarter note is worth three eighth note triplets rather than three quarter note triplets. So I'm punching in because as I was reviewing this during editing, this part seemed really confusing to me. So I wanted to clarify right here. Basically what I was saying is that musicians will walk up to you and be like, play triplets, right? Now, you recognize that the time frame is quarter notes that are representing the beat. So every beat is a quarter note. So you'll be thinking to yourself, well, I'm going to play quarter note triplets. But eighth note triplets, three of those span the beat of one quarter note. So I just didn't want there to be confusion there. But that's how it would be misleading, basically, because you would be thinking that, well, I'm playing quarter notes, so quarter note triplets cover the space of one quarter note, but three eighth note triplets cover the space of one quarter note. If you had one quarter note triplet, it would cover the space of two quarter notes. So that's the way they're misleading, and I did not want that to be confusing. All right, I'm out. And because sextuplets are twice the speed of eighth note triplets, one quarter note is worth 6 sextuplets. And there is such a thing as a quarter note triplet as well. And the quarter note triplet has a 3-to-2 relationship with quarter notes in the same way. So one quarter note triplet will take up the same amount of time as two quarter notes, or in this case, two beats. So let's break this down visually, right? If you look all the way to the left in FL Studio, I have quarter notes, and you will see that they take up this amount of time, one beat each, right? Across the top, these are also quarter notes labeled in different colors. And below them are the subdivisions. Now, before I get into that, the way you count a triplet is triplet, 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 triplet. Well, as it relates to these, I'm going to go through each of them, and I'm going to have audio examples of me drumming somewhere in this video. I haven't figured that out yet, but I'm going to explain them one at a time. So, here's a visual representation. You have 4 quarter notes. Then you have 4 quarter notes right here. Each quarter note has 2 eighth notes that match it. So an eighth note is twice the speed of a quarter note, and each quarter note fits 2 eighth notes. Here you have triplets. Each quarter note has 3 triplets that are assigned to it, and I split them apart so that you would be able to count them more easily. Here you have 4 quarter notes, and each quarter note has 4 notes. Therefore, those are 16th notes, because you can fit 4 16th notes in one quarter note. Let me zoom in so it's easier to see. There are 4 notes here, and this is a quarter note, so each of these is a 16th note. These are sextuplets. There's a quarter note here, and you can fit 6 of them over the time of each quarter note. And these are also what you would call 16th note triplets, but everybody refers to them as sextuplets. 30-second notes, you can fit 8 30-second notes over the value of one quarter note. So I have that represented here. In the same time it takes me to complete a single quarter note, I would complete 8 30-second notes. The way that we would count these would be similar to how it was yesterday, with the triplets inserted. But the thing about sextuplets and 30-second notes is that they're too fast to use conventional silly words to express. So we had words that sounded even funnier. So if we were to count from the beginning, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and triplet, 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 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So if we got to something like sextuplets and we were expressing them vocally to each other on drumline, we had syllables that were like nonsense language that we would say that you could say really fast, like digga digga, jigga jigga, chigga chigga, like that. And the same thing with something like 30-second notes. You could also do like a trill, like one of those. If I was to sing from the beginning to about here, and I wanted to communicate this, person hearing me would know the tempo already. And I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and triplet, 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 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. But when I got here, I could also say like triplet, 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 digga 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 digga, like that. We used to do that, and then digga 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 digga. So that is how you can vocalize a drum part to someone if you really wanted to. That's what we used to do on drumline. And we had tons of like nonsense syllables. It sounds really funny to people who don't know about it, because we would be singing the parts to each other. We'd be like, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, the same way horn players could sing their parts, we could sing drum parts too. And if you wanted to vocalize a part to someone, now you have a technique, you know. I bet you didn't expect to get that from a video about music production. Anyway, that explains everything that I had to cover. And if you made it to this far in the video and you reached the end, then I thank you for watching. And as usual, you have an awesome day. Peace. All right, that should be enough.